in an armed robbery turned murder case have been nabbed in Raleigh, 500 miles from where the crime actually took place.
Nashville, Tennessee police say the two people on your screen were caught on surveillance video killing a tourist near a popular attraction. CBS North Carolina's Steve Sprazier was in a Wake County courtroom today as a pair faced a judge for the first time. Steve.
And Sharon, we learned the pair will be heading back to Nashville, Tennessee after spending a short time hiding out here in Raleigh. Nashville, Tennessee detectives were able to develop information which they then passed on to their colleagues here in Raleigh, and that's why the two were arrested here. They're accused of a crime which rocked Nashville, Tennessee last September. This surveillance video shows a silver Impala stalking two tourists in downtown Nashville near the Country Music Hall of Fame. Police claim Daniela Cruz was the driver of the automobile and that Andy Nunez was one of the two men seen stalking the tourists, one of whom was fatally shot.
I believe what made them vulnerable is they had strayed away from the big crowds. They drove around for several minutes, and they just found two individuals that were walking pretty much isolated.
30-year-old Terry Grosset was a French national from Los Angeles who was visiting Nashville for the weekend. Police say that he was shot as he ran. His friend later told our Nashville sister station it was unprovoked.
Why us? Why we didn't do anything wrong? We were like two kids, like walking in the street, and why?
Today, neither Cruz nor suspect Andy Nunez had anything to say about what happened during their Raleigh court appearance. But Nashville police say all the suspects had a connection.
They are all acquainted in some way or another. We believe that Nunez and Cruz may have a dating relationship, but that's not confirmed.
Now, these two suspects are heading back to Nashville, Tennessee, but police say the case is not closed. They say a third suspect is still at large, and they now have what they say is a nationwide manhunt out for him. Reporting live, I'm Steve Sprazier, CBS North Carolina.
Steve, thank you. Well, friends and co-workers showed their support today for the bicyclist seriously
for more
injured.
now on the situation in Mosul, I'm joined on the set by France 24's expert on terrorist movements, Wassim Nasr. Wassim, what's the latest you've been hearing about what's been happening on the ground around Mosul?
Actually, since 3 days, there's a push from the east and then from the southeast too. And we know, for example, if you can see the map, that the French artillery is based just under the town of Al Houd, where we see in here. So we see French artillery, U.S. artillery, and U.S. special forces trying to bomb all the defensive positions around the town of Mosul, so all the villages. Yesterday they had very harsh fighting in Al Houd, and today we got to know that two new fronts got opened by the Peshmerga and also by the Iraqi forces. If you can see the map, also it will be much clearer. So the infighting is very intensive, and here we see the three axes of advancing today towards Hammam al-Alil and towards another town called Ashura, more north, which is a dense populated area, but we're still very far from the town of Mosul that we can see here on the map. And there's another, today the front that was opened, it was from Bashika through Bartella, which is around 20 kilometers away from Mosul. Infighting is around Bartella now, not in the town. They're not far from the town. And the northern front, which was opened also today from towards the town of Batnai, and Tel Kif is a stronghold also where the Islamic State is present. And we see that the Peshmerga and the Iraqi forces are trying at least to destroy the first defenses, the first line of defenses and the second line of defenses of the jihadis. And from the jihadi side, they are putting up the fight. They sent more than between 20 and 25 kamikaze attacks since yesterday. Here we see the jihadis in the town of Mosul at the night of the first attack. So they deployed into the town to show that they hold the town. Of course, they are masked, and they are masked for a very particular reason, because that we know that a kind of rebellion was tried to be incited by the coalition forces and by the Iraqi forces. There had been more than 15 executions of people in Mosul. Today, 2 Peshmerga, Kurdish Peshmerga that were caught by the jihadis were executed, and their bodies were put under a bridge. So the fighting is very intensive, but up to this point, we are still far from the town of Mosul, and we are still witnessing warfare in small villages and in open spaces, which has nothing to do with fighting in urban regions. And if we can maybe look at the map one more time, we see that the western side of the town of Mosul is kept open. We're gonna see it. The western side is kept open for a very simple reason that we see here, that all this region till Tal Afar and till Sinjar, where the Islamic State conducted attacks yesterday, is still held by the jihadis. And we know that in military warfare, when an attacking force is trying to encircle a town, whatever the town is, they always leave a way out in order for the people defending the town, in order to shorten the period of fighting. But as the American president said it yesterday, and as all military experts are saying, the fighting can be long, and still we are very far from urban fighting that we can witness in Mosul, as we witnessed in Fallujah, for example, in Ramadi, in Beiji, in Tikrit, remembering that all those towns were completely destroyed, and the population is today living in camps.
Wasim, today the French President François Hollande, speaking in a conference about the future of Mosul, said that Islamic State leaders are already fleeing the town. What have you heard about that?
I didn't hear anything from this sort, but maybe the French president is maybe informed from his sources. But what we should know is we are in wartime, and in wartime there's what we call psychological operations, which means trying to demise the enemy by hitting his morale. So by saying that the leaders are freeing the town, maybe the soldiers will flee, and maybe the population will rise against the jihadis. So this kind of information is to be taken very carefully. It might be true, but it might be not true too. We heard the same thing before the Iraqi forces took Fallujah, Ramadi. We always hear the same thing. And one more thing that we should point out, that the local leaders in the town of Mosul and in the province of Nainawa are mostly Iraqis from the city and from the same province. So like 10 out of 15 most prominent leaders in the town of Mosul and in the region of Nainawa are from this region. So we can imagine that they will put up the fight, even though that they might maybe try to exfiltrate their families. But I guess that it is too soon to say that they're abandoning the town, because up to this point, there is no real military pressure on the town itself in order for them to push them in order to leave the town and trying to flee the town.
All right. Wasim Nasr, thank you so much for that.
The issue. All new at 10, a murder suspect telling ABC 15 he regrets killing a man, but says defending his turf was a part of life as a homeless man. Olin Coho says all he wanted to do was go to sleep Friday night near 18th Avenue in Peoria, but he says Robert Pruitt tried to steal his sleeping spot and started to get violent. Coho says he warned Pruitt and felt threatened, so he used his knife.
No hesitation, just took out my knife, stabbed him right in the heart.
He apologizes to the victim's family and says he truly regrets what he did.
Where is he hiding? Tonight, the hunt for an escaped prisoner considered very dangerous. Rodolfo Avalos last seen near Old Town Scottsdale carjacking a woman. ABC 15's Noelani Graff is live on this story tonight at Drinkwater in Osborne and Nohe. You're learning that this guy already has a pending criminal case.
Yeah, so he was arrested just last month, suspicion of selling drugs, posted bond, and then this morning he ends up back in handcuffs in this hospital, runs out still wearing them, but police hope to fit him with a new pair soon. Rodolfo Avalos has spent more of his adult life behind bars than he has a free man, arrested just 6 weeks ago for drug charges. He got out of prison just 3 months before that, a 7-year sentence, and that was a plea deal to drop an arson charge as a teen. So he did the time for stealing a car.
He runs up to her car, gains access to her door, and gets inside of her car.
Now he'll go down for doing it again. Police say this time forcing a woman out of her SUV as she waited at the light at Osborne and Drinkwater. He was already already on the run.
His handcuffs still attached to one wrist.
Salt River police tried to pull Avalos over this morning, but he bolted, hitting several cars before they caught him. That's how he ended up in a Scottsdale hospital, cuffed to the bed. But the moment the officer stepped away, he broke free.
Push his way out of the hospital and flee into the street.
So he's raking up the charges, and police warn he may do anything to avoid facing them.
Definitely consider him dangerous due to the fact that he definitely does not want to get caught.
Silver Lexus SUV. Police not releasing a plate number right now, but if you see him or the car, you should call 911. Back
Your
to
side,
you.
crime alert. Tucson police have one man in custody after discovering a dead body while responding to a report of a prowler in Midtown. Police found the body of 62-year-old Patricia Caldwell inside a residence in the 3500 block of East 3rd Street. Authorities arrested this man, 54-year-old Terrence Borg, the boyfriend of the victim. He's been booked into the Pima County Jail on charges of manslaughter, kidnapping, and concealment of a dead body.
Corley, and more breaking news update right now. Police have identified the sniper who shot and killed an armed hostage taker.
That's right. Tulsa police say Officer Jason Lawless shot and killed Salvador Reyes after several hours standoff yesterday. Now, they say Reyes broke into his estranged wife home and took her 2-year-old hostage. They say they did try to negotiate with him, but he would not cooperate. After several hours, Officer Lawless shot and killed Reyes. Reyes is now on paid administrative leave.